When I'm doing my show, I'm promising me in my purest form of creativity and who I am as a mind and as a person.
Hello, beautiful people. Thanks for coming out. Ironically, what I wish my father would have said.
Okay, I'm taking the old draft and I'm moving bits over now, but I can start from a brand new page.
You have a degree in Biomedical Science, yet you are a comedian.
It was a way for me to critically think about who I was and who I wanted to be.
Hey, I am Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence.
It was a wild experience.
Something clicked in me and I didn't want to be average anymore.
What I love about the dragon is
How did that come about? Well, educated.
So he survived for about an hour?
Best young emerging actor.
Oh, wow.
He has to be on point.
Yeah, yes. A particular sketch with Rebel Wilson. Never stop learning.
I decided to run away.
here I am, continuing my tennis journey here.
Thought, that's it?
A few opinions about what
Passages.
That made your journey harder? Hey, this is Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence. Today we are going to interview a stand-up comedian, AJ Lamarque, who is visiting Melbourne from Sydney for the Fringe Festival.
Moment in the world. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, we all know that, but who I really feel sorry for at the moment is Gen Zs. Particularly Gen Zs that want sugar daddies. Because I'm a millennial, right? Give me a word if you're a millennial. Hello, welcome. Well, because if we wanted a sugar daddy, right? Our sugar daddies were boomers. And boomers had money. Boomers had wealth and assets and things they could buy you. What do millennial have? Depression. ADHD. Social anxiety, doesn't pay for anything, you know? They're just like, I'm trying to pay off my HECS debt. And we're like, yeah, same. Fingers crossed. Millennials are the financial equivalent of Weet-Bix, you know? We're cheap, flaky, and broke. The best we could offer the next generation is like our share house's Netflix password. And a slight immunity to black mold. What are we like? Sorry, I realised that the term sugar daddy is actually quite offensive. A lot of older people can't process sugar anymore. I think we should call them stevia seniors instead.
AJ, welcome to Melbourne and welcome to Foreign Influence.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
How's the Fringe Festival going? How was your performance last night?
Oh, it's going wonderfully. I have been to this venue only once before, so I was excited to check it out. And it's beautiful, Grouse Melbourne, over in Collingwood, I believe. And yeah, it was just such a lovely audience.
And it was sold out as well. Wow.
It's always a nice feeling when you come from a different place, and when you're in your hometown, you get hometown advantage, like a sports game, right? You have the friends and family that you know, you have connections, you have people who've seen you regularly, and they're like, oh, he's doing a show, I'll come check it out. But when you go to a new place, you essentially start from scratch.
Well, yeah, you have to rely on reputation.
Yes. Exactly. So that's really sweet.
Well, AJ, you have such a rich cultural background. Tell me about it. You're actually probably the person with the richest cultural background I have ever met.
Yes, I'm yet to meet someone similar to me. I don't think they exist, but I am multiracial. So essentially a lot of people in my family are also mixed race. I'm originally from London, born in North London. My dad is born in North London as well. He grew up in Malta for a little bit. His dad is Indian South African and his mum is Chinese Jamaican. And then my mum is like blue-eyed, blonde-haired, British, kind of bit of a mix from the north and the south, but all of that together has constituted this individual that you see here today. So very, very unique in that composition of ethnicities.
For sure. What was it like growing up in London? I can still sense the accent. I love the accent.
Yeah, so I'm originally born in North London, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very multicultural city. And so being very multiracial as an individual, it never felt like at odds because everyone around me looked completely different. All of my neighbors look completely different. All of my family look completely different. You go to the restaurant and everyone talks and acts differently. So it was never this thing which it felt like, oh, I'm an anomaly in that sense. It just made sense in terms of what London is and what London represents as a multicultural hub.
And you went to California to study for a year on a student exchange. What was that experience like? What did you take away from that?
It was a beautiful experience. I think I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity. I feel like it's very Hollywood film-esque. A lot of people across the globe grow up with American culture through film and TV. Even though many of us have not necessarily been to the country, we understand a lot of terminology. We understand high school and middle school and cheerleaders and all of this stuff that kind of gets onboarded as a part of that like medium in which they export. And going there physically and experiencing a university and seeing all of these fraternities and sororities and the baseball clubs and the pro sports football teams and all of that stuff.
Just like we see in the movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I even had a moment where I was walking through campus on one of the first weeks and someone handed out a flyer to join their a cappella group.
Oh, wow.
And I felt like I was in Pitch Perfect, except I can't really sing that well. So I was like, oh my God, I can't sing, no, but maybe I can. And they were like, okay, no, bye. And I was like, no, this is the bit where you go, you're a hidden talent. And oh my God, you've got to join the team. I was expecting the whole narrative, but it was very magical. It felt from a outsider perspective to be quite like this fairy tale introduction. I think, as we all know, America has a lot of different kind of issues going on and societal divides, but like that first initial interaction when you're in a relatively safe space of a university and you're seeing all of these features that are very common in pop culture, it felt very Hollywood and it felt very distinct.
When you arrived in Australia 11 years ago, in one of your interviews, you said that Australia was a great place to begin. What did you mean by that?
I think for me, I'd spent a lot of time in the UK my name was different. I went by Alex, which is my real name, as opposed to AJ. And AJ was an Americanism. There are a lot of Alexes on campus, and there were also a lot of Alexes who were from the UK. And I wanted to kind of like differentiate myself. And I became AJ because I thought that's cool and American, and they would be on board, and they were. And then because they were like trying to find me online, I ended up changing my social media. So I became an AJ. And I went from high school in the UK to not being out as gay and having this life where I felt like I was kind of lying to people. Like I never felt ashamed for being gay in that sense, but I just felt like I'd been lying to people, and that's what I didn't really like. And so when I had that experience of leaving the UK, going to different places around the world, and then finally settling in Australia, I felt like I had a carte blanche to rewrite who AJ is, as opposed to who Alex was and who everybody knew Alex was or thought they knew who Alex was back in the UK and all of those places. I got to come to Sydney where nobody knew me and I could start fresh. I could get a new job. I could build my own connections on my own terms. They weren't people and family friends that knew me before I even was like a month old and everything like that. So that's what Australia felt like to me as an immigrant, and I'm really grateful.
So it was like a line in the sand that you divided before and after.
Yes, it's like when you get a new document on Word and you start a new page and it just goes, okay, I'm taking the old draft and I'm moving bits over now, but I can start from a brand new page.
So how did that make you feel that you finally came out and made it all public, who you were? Did that give you a big lift and inspiration to conquer the world further?
I think I was very lucky in some of the experiences that I was fortunate to be given in life, like my ability to go to the States on a program and to live in different countries as well in between, and the type of culture and community that I came from that allowed me to see different people's ways of living, experience different cultures, see the things that people value and how they integrate in society and what they value in different parts of the world. And when I came to Australia and I had that kind of fresh start, it was a way for me to critically think about who I was and who I wanted to be. And I was trying things that I hadn't tried before to see if it was me, and I felt like all of the learnings I had from having a very multicultural upbringing and a very multicultural life experience beforehand gave me license to go, I'm going to figure out who I am on my own terms, and I'm not going to be as apologetic, because it's a part of life. It's a part of life to explore and be interested and inquisitive about things.
How did your family react?
They were very fine about it. I did it on a WhatsApp chat. I was in America at the time, and I was like, hey, by the way, I'm gay. And they were like, yeah, cool. And I was like, great. And that was it.
Modern technology.
Yeah, they were very supportive. So when I came out here and I was able to build that life, it wasn't like a shock for them either. It was something that they'd known about. So, because my family had immigrated also to Sydney. So I came back to live with my family in Sydney and starting again, but I didn't have to hide anything anymore.
That's terrific.
Before we get back in the games, AJ, is it true that you didn't properly understand English until high school?
Wow, small talk has changed. No, but it's true. I really struggled with English. I don't have a second language. I'm just bad.
So where did you grow up?
In London.
That's where they make English.
Yeah, it's manufactured there and exported a lot. But yeah, I couldn't speak until I was 4, and then by the time I got to like year 7, I had to go to like special English classes where they taught you how to put like 2-letter words together, and then by the time I got to the end of high school, it was fine.
You were fluent.
Yes.
You have a degree in biomedical science, yet you are a comedian. How did that come about? When did you actually decide that you wanted to go into the comedy?
I was dead set on being a doctor. I did high school, and then I liked biology, and then I was like, well, I'm going to continue. I'm going to become a doctor.
Because your mom has a medical background.
Yes,
correct?
my mum is in dentistry, and I have always kind of been around like medical kind of practices, not necessarily doctor, but like in a dental sense, and maybe that kind of rubbed off on me, but I just found the subject interesting. I liked health. I liked the idea of having a problem and then figuring out how to fix it. And the way to do that was if a person, it was like a disease, and how can you treat it, and what could you come up with to figure out a new type of treatment for that? I found it all very like
fascinating,
and it's kind of like a puzzle, but like with real life benefits for people and individuals. And then when I left my high school and I started doing my degree, and it was wonderful, and then I realized what it took to be a doctor. And then I started to learn that, oh, you've got to spend the next 7 years studying. And then after 7 years, you start going into
internships.
And then you usually get the terrible shifts because you're the new people, and the people who have been doing it for longer don't want to do a whole 2 weeks of night shifts. And so you've got an extra few years of getting the graveyard shifts and full time. And I was just like, I don't think I want to commit that much to the interest and innovation of it all. I finished my degree and I went into the job market, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to explore life, see where it takes me, and see where I'm drawn to naturally. I wasn't gunning for like a big marketing job in lieu of science. I ended up in marketing for a bit, and then in marketing I went and ended up in a graduate program for the Sydney Opera House, which was awesome, and that kind of was like my gateway into arts.
Yeah.
Obviously being a very big performing arts centre, and then from there it kind of translated into some of the hobbies I'd been doing to meet people. I'd started going to improv classes just to meet friends. I was struggling as an international...
Well, because you were a new person in this country. Yeah,
100%.
That's a really good idea.
And then it worked too well, and I made a wonderful bunch of friends, and a lot of them are still in comedy. They all started doing comedy from improv, and they've moved into stand-up and sketch writing, and so I see a lot of them still in the industry today, which is beautiful and awesome. And I just happened to be pulled into it as well. So it was never a direct intention for me to be a comedian. I was not writing down as a kid on my wish list or my vision board, but it happened organically. And I think that's a really unspoken way that people can find things. I think there's a lot of projection of like, oh, if you didn't want to do that since you were a kid, maybe it's not your true calling. Maybe it's not your passion. You have to do it all from a child, right?
We all evolve and adapt and to environment around us, and our experience shape us to do the next thing that we're destined to do.
Agree, and it's nice, and I think sometimes it's nice just to be given the permission, or to give yourself the permission to be like, no, I like this and I'm going to do this now. I didn't have to have the 20 years of trying to make it work. I've just discovered this, and this is awesome, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's beautiful.
How would you describe your comedic style, and who are your influences?
Yeah, it's very interesting. My comedic style, especially in the last year and so, has kind of adapted a lot and changed. I started doing very kind of, I don't know what the term is, pure stand-up. I would say a joke. There would be a punchline. I would stop and stand in silence until people laughed, and then I would move on to the next joke and punchline. It was very kind of like blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that when I was getting bookings and when people were reaching out to do stuff with me, it was because they'd seen me host things and they'd seen me be a personality and they'd seen my charisma and they'd seen me engage in a very organic, friendly way. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's not a bad thing in stand-up. I thought in stand-up you just had to go for the jokes and you just had to be all about the punchlines, and everything else is covering up for poor writing skills or everything else. And so it allowed me to go into more of a conversational style. A lot of my shows are kind of storytelling based, or in this current era, a lot of edutainment, I would say. My next show that I'm planning and I'm writing and I'm constructing at the moment, I did a trial show at Sydney Fringe a couple of weeks ago, and it's called A Beginner's Guide to Ancient Egypt.
Ooh.
And so it is just an interesting hour about ancient Egypt, and I've got comedy in there and I'm making it entertaining with some visuals and fun facts and everything like that, but it's less true stand-up. It's less of an hour of punchlines and setups and everything, but it's just, here's a very interesting concept that I'm very passionate about. Let me tell you about it. You don't have to know anything. I will provide the slides, and let's just have a nerdy, fun comedy hour together. So I think it's very much about enjoying inquisitiveness, enjoying connecting with people in the room and bringing people on a collective journey, and really sharing that space in that room for the hour or 30 minutes or whatever that comedy segment might be.
I love this storytelling part, because probably when people, the audience, when they come to your show, it makes them feel like they're one-on-one with you. Yeah, that's great. I like that style. Yeah,
oh,
very good idea.
Yeah, it's very different when you are performing, when I'm performing a solo show and I've got the people who've come up to watch me. I'm not on a lineup show in stand-up where you've just got 7 different comedians and you might not know who they are at all, and you just kind of sit through their sets, and sometimes you love them and sometimes you're like, not my humor, but that's okay. It's a different dynamic. It feels like a different promise to the audience. When I'm doing my show, I'm promising me in my purest form of creativity and who I am as a mind and as a person. And when I'm doing stand-up, I'm like, oh, I feel like the promise is you just want jokes. Like, I'm here just to give you jokes, and I can do that, and I have a great time. But when it comes to that solo craft, and if I'm going to create something from nothing and tour it around, I really want to have a space where people go, wow, that was fun, and I felt like we were chatting.
Yeah.
And I felt like you were
much more
talking
intimate. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
What do you think is the most important quality in a comedian?
Oh, that's such a good question. I feel like for me personally, when I've talked to younger comedians or comedians who want to get into it and they're talking to me about how do I write a joke and how do I do this stuff? My way of framing things is that people can tell jokes. So many people can write a good joke. Writing a good joke is not as special or unique to an individual, right? We can all write jokes and we can all make them funny. But what people rally behind and what people find fascinating and why people pick comedian A over comedian B and they follow them and they're obsessed with them is because that comedian can filter their self through the joke. We can all go online and find Christmas cracker jokes, and we can Google ChatGPT, write me a joke, right? But it's the individual, when they bring themselves, when they bring their experience, when they bring their passion, when they bring whatever it is about them that makes them a human being, that makes them that individual, and then they use that as a filter for humor. That's when I think people connect. That's when I feel like you go, oh, that was funny, to, oh my God, I love them. I can't wait to see what they do next. They could do a show about cabbages, or a show about transport, or a show about whatever. And it doesn't really matter the topic, because what you love about them is their worldview and how they translate that through their humor to you as an audience.
That is so poetic. Really poetic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and very deep. You are a very deep thinker. Yeah.
I am. I'm a bit odd. I chat to a lot of people, and I only got a Spotify account this year. So I don't listen to music on the train. I don't really listen to podcasts. I'm always just sitting in my head on public transport, on a plane.
Do you observe people?
I look around. I'm just thinking. I'm constantly thinking, and I think the space where I'm not listening to music and zoning out is probably why I spend a lot of time being like, why do I think that? That's an interesting thought I just had.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get a lot of it from my friends and like the people around me, and those unique experiences that I have with different individuals. I think sometimes I'd spend, like most artists, you spend a little bit of time in your head going, oh, I'm doing this art genre, what do I have to do to be seen in this industry? And I've got to do it like this, or I'm this type of person, so I have to fit this type of mold in order to be valid in the art form. And then once I kind of got over that thing of being like, oh, I have to be this type of comedian because that's who I am, apparently, according to society, I was like, oh no, I'm just going to follow the things that make me fired up, that invoke a sense of passion in me. Because if I'm having fun, other people are having fun. And it's those types of conversations that enact similar sensations to when I'm performing that I love. Like I'm with my friends and we're talking about a subject, and one of them is very interested in this thing and they're having a great time explaining it or telling us about it. And I'm like, I am so engaged because they're so passionate about what they're talking about that I'm also passionate by proxy. Like, I don't know this subject at all. I've never researched it. I never studied it, but their passion I find infectious. Then it influences the way that I then create. It's about that spark.
You are a Pride basketball ambassador. How did that come about, and what does this role entail?
Yeah, I know. We've gone from all the subject topics. We've gone from, like in the UK, I was studying science, I'm a comedian, now I'm playing basketball. I'm a very eclectic person by nature. I love just trying new things. I got into basketball because I just wanted to be healthy and active. I'm not a gym person. I get very bored at the gym. I'm doing repetitive actions. My mind goes somewhere else and I'm like, I'd rather not be here. I think a large population of people in society probably also have that. It's like, I want to be healthy and I want to be fit. But does it have to be boring? And I remember in primary school, I used to play a lot of basketball.
And also it's a group sport, is that a group activity?
It's a team activity, there's bonding, there's socializing. And I went to Fair Day at Mardi Gras, which is where different stalls kind of activate as a part of the LGBTQI celebration in Sydney. And there's a sports section. And I was walking along being like, I'm gonna pick a sport. It felt very much like going clothes shopping. And I was looking through, and I found the basketball stand, and being a part of that club was purely just for health and fitness. And I was like, this is not going to be connected to anything in my presenting or comedic career at all. I'm not going to let it cross over. This is going to be my little space where I can just forget about it. And then I didn't, and I made it cross over. One of the people from Basketball New South Wales came up, and they have a Pride inclusion program. And they came up to me and they were like, hey, you've got a bit of a public following. You're new to the sport. Like, you're an adult who's beginning. You're not this kid who grew up doing all of the programs and the workshops. Like, you're an adult trying something new. And we really want to promote this within...
That people can relate to.
Yes.
And you're fun.
Yeah. I was like, I am the least skilled ambassador in basketball there ever was, and I will reign and I will hold that crown proudly. Because I think there are a lot of people who think that in order just to play a sport, you have to be some sort of professional from a child. You can't just rock up to a game and be like, I'm just here to have fun, have a bit of exercise and meet people. And that's my role, essentially. I promote Pride inclusion in basketball, but also I'm just promoting the fact that anyone can get involved in sport. You don't have to be a pro athlete. You can be an absolute beginner. You can have never tried it. You don't follow the professional games. You don't know anyone in the NBA. You can just go and have fun playing a game because you're an adult who wants to. And I think that's a really fun job to have in the role. And I'm very grateful that they asked me to do it.
AJ, you are changing stereotypes. I mean, that's what you're doing.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, but you are. You're doing it.
Thank you. I mean, if they saw me play, maybe I'm not, but but I think the message is important.
Thank you so much for taking up the time and coming to chat to our audience. And I wish you all the best for your upcoming shows.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for chatting with me.